Well, hello and welcome to our front yard garden in the South Carolina upstate. By the look of the eggs in the yard, it's Easter time, or approaching Easter time. It's March 28th, 2025. This is episode 7 already of 2025. Beautiful Friday, late afternoon, it's about 7 o'clock, and we're going to go through the front and backyards here. Got up to about 80 degrees today. Another beautiful day, and we've done these in the early day, so we've had different lighting for the other videos that we've done so far, so it's going to be a little more shadowing this time, but might show the colors actually a little bit better than what we've had before. So we're going to start off obviously with tulips here in the front mailbox bed, and we move over to clematis, which I said last week I wanted to move these so that they actually be up on top of the mailbox instead of hanging over the side. Might be a little late to do that now. They're really growing fast and they're going to start to put out flowers, but I'd like them draped over this, so I'm going to have to work on that a little bit. Actually did a little bit of gardening today. Probably can't see it quite yet, but our spring cleanup is a very, very long process, so it may take a couple weeks if the weather is good. Here we have our creeping phlox, and these are doing really, really well. They started about 3 weeks ago, very slowly, 1 or 2 flowers here and there, and then suddenly they just went crazy. This is probably the best year that no, it's not probably, it is the best year that we've had for creeping phlox. We had tried to do these in the north for years and just could never quite get them to do this, and it's taken us, what is this now, our 7th spring here in South Carolina, and finally getting just that carpet of color that we want. I wish it was a variety of colors, and I wish it was over a wider area, but I'll take this anytime. This is beautiful. Our petite knockout rose is getting ready to burst into color. It's doing really well after what I would consider to be a slightly off year last year, but I'm seeing buds already, and so we're going to have flowers in another couple of weeks here. And then over here, dianthus are slowly giving us more flowers every week. They'll really kick in a little bit later in May. Now this group of tulips really kind of fell apart today. They've been out for about a week, and they didn't do so well in the hot sun. Usually the hot sun will do in a lot of these spring flowers, and these are no exception. Over here we have, actually I'd never seen this one, we actually have a tulip way in the back there. And then we have our climbing rose. We've had a lot of trouble with, not the rose itself, but the scaffold keeps falling over every time we have a brisk wind. But if it'll stay up, I think this plant will do really well this year. It's always done pretty consistently well with lots of bright red flowers on it. So I'm starting to see a few buds here and there, like that one. So again, we should have some color before too long. We've also got some lilies starting to come up from bulbs, and more lilies over here. Just a wide variety of everything in our yard. Hyacinths are pretty well done now. Our early spring stuff has already come and passed. They're usually pretty well done by mid-March. They generally start late January, early February, depending on the weather. And now we're into mid-spring flowers like these clematis. And I would say within the next week or so, we're going to start to get flowers here. These are usually white. This particular plant is really prolific. It has spread all over these climbing roses and everything else in the area. So should be getting a lot of color there. Over here, some more beautiful tulips. By next week, they'll probably be gone, so enjoy them. Hydrangeas here, just coming out with their leaves now. The flowers will be a little bit behind. Got a juga here. It's easy to kind of take this one lightly because it's just a ground cover plant. The greenery itself is really not impressive. To some extent you can barely see it, but the flowers are gorgeous, especially since we've had it for a few years now and it's really spread out over a pretty good sized area. So I mean, it gives us a lot of color for a few weeks in the mid-spring. So it's really one of my favorites, and we've had a lot of trouble getting things to grow in this particular area. It doesn't get a lot of sun. Something about the soil there, it's just not especially favorable. But the ajuga have just done really well. If I could find more of those, I would get them and put them in. Nice hybrid tulip here. More standard tulips here doing great. Same thing here and over here. And I got some creeping Jenny coming up, these light green ground cover flowers. And then we've got lilies here. My wife was putting these bulbs in our first episode back in February, early February. More tulips. Over here, a bunch of these hybrids. Really, really pretty. More juga through here, even bigger flowers, doing really well. And then we have gladiolus coming up. I struggled with the name on those last week. Just had a brain event and couldn't come up with them. But gladiolus, hopefully we'll have some nice ones for a cutting garden later this year. More lilies through here, snapdragons in this area. Not putting out much in the way of flowers yet, but I think they will because I'm seeing some buds right in here, right above my shadow, or below my shadow, I should say. So we should have some color in another couple of weeks there. Now back here, I kind of passed by these, but these are our viburnum. And we have a number of these in the front yard. We have one in the backyard. Every week these buds, flower, whatever you want to call them, groups of flowers have gotten a little bit bigger. Light green right now, they're going to be white, bright white in about a week or so. So in our next episode, we really should have quite a show for you. Got some more of those over here. In fact, one of them is turning white. This one gets a little more sun, so this one is a little ahead of all the others. But we should have a lot of flowers on these coming up very soon. We have 3 more viburnum over here. These are a little bit further behind. These have done well in the past, so I think they should continue to. Just not seeing a whole lot in the way of flowers yet, but I think they will come. Same thing with the azaleas here. These will give us some nice color in a little bit more time. We're getting just a little bit of these reddish pink flowers here and some of the light pink ones here, but I think we'll be getting quite a few more in over the next few weeks. Now up here I'm starting to see some of the viburnum buds, so stay tuned. We'll be seeing more of that. We've got irises over in here. The white ones, of course, are the first ones to come out. White with yellow highlights. And we have quite a few more of those over here. And these are doing really, really well. And then we've got our knockout roses. I really had my doubts about these last year. I have 5 pretty big ones. They didn't look so good. I didn't feel like they put out a ton of flowers last year compared to previous years, but this year they're looking really healthy, lots of greenery, and I'm seeing a lot of buds too. So hopefully it won't be too long before we start to get a lot of flowers in this area. Then we'll come up to our little bunny garden here. Unfortunately, our extremely expensive plastic fence that we got from the old Kmart before they went out of business about 10 years ago. It's amazing these things are still even in one piece. Well, they won't stay in, so there you go. That's what you get. But the rest of them look pretty good. And let's show off what else is going on in this bed. This one tends to run a little bit behind the others, although We do have some grape hyacinths here. I think they probably peaked last week, so let's enjoy them now, because there will be far fewer next week. These are always fun, nice sign of spring. You know, bright, sort of a periwinkle color, bluish purple. And then we've got these white flowers that neither my wife nor I can identify, but they're beautiful. And strangely enough, all of our other daffodils are gone except this one, a very complex hybrid, and there's just one of them, and it's just come out and it looks absolutely fantastic. We got climbing roses, knockout roses here, some daylilies starting to come up, and what else? Some more dianthus, some pink ones in addition to the dark ones. More daylilies through here, and more gladiolus in this area, just getting started. Probably late spring, early summer, we should have some that we can cut and bring in the house. And then more lilies coming up from bulbs, and we have bee balm or monarda getting started. It'll be a few, well, probably at least a couple months before we get any flowers out of these red flowers that attract bees and butterflies, but they're all getting their start. So that's where we're at. Lots to see. The bunnies on our front porch are all lighted up and ready for Easter in 3 weeks. It's worth mentioning, our little miniature lemons, wasn't sure if they were going to survive or not, but they're finally doing well. I'm seeing some new leaves coming out on these, and even some little flower buds. These have not flowered before. We had flowers on a couple of our others that are now on the porch in the back of the house. So who knows what we'll get out of this. I come to realize we're probably not going to get any legitimate lemons or oranges, but they're kind of fun to watch. This is our orange tree. It's really struggled. The cold weather was not kind to it this year, and the long winter. It's got a lot of dead leaves on it, but I'm going to keep it going and see if it survives. Same thing with our lemon. We've had this for about 5 years. It's lost at least half of its leaves, maybe more, and despite that, it is putting out some new growth. So it's trying to survive now that the weather is better. We'll see what happens. So that's it for our front yard. We're going to do a separate video for the backyard in just a minute. And until next time, oh, if you're wondering, by the way, it's not much to see, but there's been a lot of talk about some of the wildfires in this area. The biggest one is at Table Rock, which is up in the mountains north of here. It's about 35 miles from our house. There were a couple nights where you could see a lot of smoke up in the northern sky. Now those are just normal clouds. Smoke is pretty much gone now, but it's a good sized forest fire, about 4,500 acres. Although by California standards, that's really not a big fire, but no danger to us. It's just just one of those things that happens in nature, and it'll come to an end at some point. Also worth mentioning, our tree here. Last week it was in full bloom. Our flowers have already started to dissipate a little bit, but still some up there. Probably looked a little better when the sun was shining on them, but those will be gone in another few days, especially if we get some rain, and we are predicted to get some rain in the next few days. Once that's done, we will be getting mulch on our beds, so things will start to look a little bit better. Right now it looks a little disheveled, but when we get some fresh mulch, I think the yard is going to look a lot better, and then things will green up. If you look around, most of the other yards in the neighborhood are still have that pale grass that we get here when the weather gets cold. But probably in another couple weeks we'll start to have a lot of greenery here, and the yard will really start to kick into gear as we get closer to summer. All right, so off to the backyard. Hope it's sunny wherever you are, and until next time, happy gardening.